All right, thank you, members. I have an update before we start the meeting, which is that the board chair Kelly was delayed or something. His flight patterns were delayed, and I was not able to confirm with him whether or not we should move forward with the meeting. This is a very minor rule change, and so because the election cycle has started, and I don't prefer to amend the rules during the cycle, or I try not to amend the rules during the cycle. My preference would be for the board to appoint a temporary chair for this meeting and consider this minor rule change. However, we do have another meeting set in June. If the board wants to consider this change at that time, that's also an option. But whatever option, I think actually, regardless of the option, the board should start by appointing a temporary chair for this meeting.
I nominate Jason Marks to be temporary chair for this meeting.
I second that.
Can someone call the roll?
Yes, I can do that. Member Caffrey.
Yes.
Member Cunniff.
Yeah.
Member Martinez.
Yes.
Member Marks.
Aye.
Member Selvin. Sue, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay, well, that was enough for quorum, so we're just going to move forward, and Member Marks will be our temporary chair for this meeting.
Should we vote? Pardon me. Should we vote on designating Member Marks as the chair?
Sean, I think we took that vote.
Sorry,
we
I thought
did?
that was that vote. My apologies.
Oh, thanks. Sorry.
All right, that was the nominee and nomination in the second. Sorry.
Okay.
Thanks.
Jason, do you have the agenda?
No, I don't. I believe though, I believe we have an approval of minutes. I'm working from memory here, and then we have a minor rules change.
So I can walk you through it if you don't mind, but we can also forward it to you. So the first thing we should do is call the meeting to order, and then we're going to do an approval of the agenda and then the approval of the minutes.
Yeah, that's my recollection. I'll call the meeting to order. I think we were already called to order with the election of a temporary chair. And our first we should approve the agenda at this time, and if there is anyone who would prefer that we table the rules change till next meeting, this would be the time to make that motion. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the agenda. I'm willing to go forward with the rule change so that we can just get it done quickly before the election cycle starts.
Right. So moved by Commissioner Caffrey. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And I'll just call the roll vote on the approval of the agenda. Member Caffrey?
Yes.
Member Cunniff?
Yes.
Member Martinez?
Yes.
Member Marks?
Yes.
And Member Selvin? Sue, can you hear us yet?
It looks like her microphone is off.
Yeah. Okay, we're just going to keep moving on.
Okay.
So now we have the approval of the minutes.
And is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes, sir.
Thank you. Moved by Commissioner Martinez. Is there a second?
Second.
Great.
Would take the roll, please.
Yep. Member Caffrey?
Yes.
Member Cunniff?
Yes.
Member Martinez?
Yes.
Member Marks,
Yes.
Member Selvin. Okay, and then up next, Jason, we have the motion,
Yeah.
vote on the rule. Okay.
That's correct. Clerk Watson, would you like to present the rule change?
Yes, and could I have screen, yes, thank you, Chair Marks. Could I have screen sharing privileges and I can share the rule so everyone can see it? Okay.
You should be able to screen share. Is it
Yep.
telling you you can't?
Yep, no, I got it. Thank you, members of the board. Historically, for reasons that I don't know the answer to, when a complaint is filed with the clerk's office for consideration by the Board of Ethics, the date for when the answer is due is tied to the merits hearing. It's dated back from the merits hearing, which is really confusing in a lot of ways because the merits hearings typically get deferred a lot or are moved. And so this became and this has posed some issues in the past because I think it's sometimes helpful to know it became an issue last cycle in particular because there were the pending complaints against candidate Manny Gonzalez due to the fact that those had been deferred several times past the date for me to certify whether or not he should receive public financing. I was not actually able to consider his answer to the complaints as part of my consideration of whether to certify him for public financing. So what I'd like to propose for the board is that the answer to the complaint be tied to when the complaint is filed. So essentially when the complaint is filed and sent, and when it's sent to them, they would have then 10 days to file an answer with our office. That's the change I'm proposing. And if the board has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Mr. Watson, I thought I understood the change, and then I not as clear after the explanation. The strikeout in the red line would show the difference from the current rule, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it looks like we're changing it from 10 days after receipt of notice to 10 days from when the notice is sent.
Correct.
Right. So I'm not seeing where it was tied to a hearing date previously. Just seems like we're getting away from something that's harder to know and maybe a little more variable. The receipt date to just your mail out date.
I apologize, Chair Marks, members of the board. So previously it was the answer would be filed within 10 days after the respondent receives notice from the city clerk that the complaint was set for hearing. That was
I see.
Okay. And so now going forward, the rule would be it would be 10 days after notice was sent that I have sent it to the board, because that's really what I've sent the complaint to the board, because that's really what triggered the complaint process, because there are complaints that I don't send to the board if they don't comply with our rules.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and I apologize for not reading carefully. Is there any other discussion?
I had one question, Ethan. I'm curious about why the trigger for the clock is sent, that notice was sent, or that the complaint was sent to the Board of Ethics as opposed to served or delivered. I guess my worry is that sent, doesn't denote that the respondent has in their possession the complaint, which seems to me like that would typically be the trigger for the clock to run. Can you explain the choice of the language sent?
So I think the issue, because complaints come in and I immediately do give them to the candidate, but if the complaint doesn't comply with our rules, or if we do voluntary resolution, there could be situations where we could resolve a complaint before it's ever sent to the board. And so, in those but that process does typically occur pretty quickly. So I was timing this from when it's sent to the board, because I think that's when that would definitely be a more condensed time frame than the old rule. I think if the board is interested in making it 10 days from when they receive the complaint, period, or when the complaint is sent to them, period, I'm open to that. I don't have a strong preference about it. I just, that is another option I had not considered, frankly.
I guess I don't quite understand what sent means either. Do the rules delineate what sent means? Because, you know, if the singular mode of service is email, then sending and service have a sort of instantaneous, contemporaneous quality. But if the rules require you to like send the complaint via certified mail, then obviously there can be a gap in time, particularly if it's the sort of mailing process where the recipient has to certify receipt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and to that point, the board, you do raise an interesting point, because there is a section 5 that says any notice required by the code or these rules and regulations shall be given by mail, personal service, email, or as provided by law. So there's actually not any fixed way of service.
And I guess I also worry about the scenario where the person who's the subject of the complaint doesn't already have counsel. Maybe that person isn't particularly, I don't want to say sophisticated, but not versed in how these administrative processes work, that sort of thing. So I just want to make sure that I don't have any quibble with sort of the time frame and so forth. I just want to make sure that this means the respondent gets the full 10 days, and whatever language effectuates that, I certainly wouldn't have an issue with.
I'm fine. Oh, members of the board, I'm fine with it. And sorry, Chair Marks, so did you have a question or thought?
Okay, could you show the portion of the rule that discusses what comes before this? So
yes.
what happens when the complaint comes in and when you serve it to the respondent?
Yes, hold on. So, we require it to be filed in writing and notarized with our office. This is not very big. There we go.
So that's the complaint, and then.
So the complaint is filed, and then I review the complaint.
Yeah.
And it has to meet these criteria.
And what's after this?
We require evidence to be attached. There's a certification.
Here we go.
I review the complaint within 3 business days.
Please.
I can kick it back.
Let's just slow down here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So you can throw it out there. This is all your process. So number 5 here is when you serve the respondent.
Yes.
Oh. Can I scroll down?
Sure. And the rule we're considering today, is that below this?
Correct.
Right.
Sorry, let me keep going. So there's
Okay.
there's a settlement process.
All right.
There's an investigation process, but here's the
There's
dates. Yeah, that's
Answers. Okay. So as you explained, once you've determined it's a substantive complaint, it gets sent to the board, and that would be the trigger for an answer.
Yes. I am fine with served if the board feels that's more specific, or if there's other questions, let me know how the board would like to proceed.
Can I just make a comment about this process, just in the years that we've been doing this? I think you saw previously in the rules that we do notify them when a complaint is filed. So they get that first notification. And then we would notify them again if it is sent to you all. Historically, we've not had much luck with mail service or with certified mail. We've found over the last few years that our ability to contact people, whether they have legal representation or not, our best way of communicating with people has been through email. So we've really tried to take all of the certified mail requirements out of both of this process and our campaign process, because we've had terrible luck with getting people to accept certified mail.
Can you show us what defines service, or service shall include all of these options? Oh, notice. Okay.
And I will say, members of the board, I will say, we do always work to improve these rules. If you see other things you think should be improved, I'm open to that. We should start writing them all down and then do them at the end of the cycle. There's, I think, always better ways there's always improvements that can be had. I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but if there's other little changes, we could certainly do that as part of this, but we could also save a lot more substantive changes for the end of the cycle.
Okay, so notice is defined. So in the proposed revision, we don't need to redefine notice. So it's just with that word sent.
Notice is given. Can we see the rule change again, Ethan?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So what if you change sent from delivered by email?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Does the city of Albuquerque per se have an email address for any person who would be subject to a complaint?
There is a place for them to enter an email on a form, and then for all the candidates and MFCs, we actually do have email addresses for all the candidates and MFCs. So, and we are corresponding with most of them. I think that the issue, we are corresponding with them, most of them on a routine basis. The issue is sometimes we receive random complaints regarding sort of, there's always strange complaints that arise, and so there could be some weird service issues potentially, but I think email is probably sufficient in most instances.
Well, so that since the definition of notice includes email, could the revision say within 10 business days after notice is provided from the city clerk to the respondent? And that, or because you want to date it from when the city clerk sends it out.
So we note it, yeah, so we can change it to notice was provided and then say after the complaint has been delivered to the Board of Ethics, maybe just to take out the word sent to eliminate any confusion.
Yeah.
Or you could probably just say notice, right? Since notice is otherwise defined in the provisions.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
sure.
take out the was sent.
Okay.
That's good.
Notice from the board, from the city clerk to the respondent that the complaint has been, are we keeping sent to the Board of Ethics, or do we want to change it to?
Oh, well, if we remove sent, that might imply that the answer is not due until actual notice. So if someone gets the email but doesn't open it, then it doesn't count. Within 10 business days after the city clerk sends notice, after the city clerk, maybe send is right, after the city clerk sends notice to the respondent. Maybe it's just the passive that's tripping us up. Oh, well, on the second sent, that the complaint has been referred to the Board of Ethics, because I think that's the word that's used in the rest of the rules, referred to the Board of Ethics by the city clerk.
That one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
That's
I like
easy.
that. Yes.
Referred.
So we're saying shall be filed with the city clerk by the respondent within 10 business days after the city clerk sends
Notice.
to the respondent that the complaint has been referred to the Board of Ethics, period. Maybe take out by the city clerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still not, I for one am not a fan of the use of the word sends.
Can we see the notice rule again, Ethan?
Yes.
So, written notice mailed or delivered shall be considered sufficient notice. I think that addresses the concern about somebody not opening it. I think we could just use the word after notice has been, or notice has been given.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ethan, can we flip back to the rule?
Yep.
To change? And do you have the Word document that this was?
Miriam, do you have it, or
Maybe.
Crystal?
I can email it to you, Ethan.
Okay.
Somebody could,
Yep. Hold on.
or,
Waiting. So sorry. Hold on.
okay, well, I think I can specify, I think what we've heard. If we're
Yep.
looking at this, if it said 10 business days after notice is given by the city clerk to the respondent that the complaint has been referred to the Board of Ethics, period. Is that what we've discussed?
Sorry, I have it. I think that's the gist of it. I thought, do we want to state it in active voice after the city clerks gives notice?
I think we said city notice given. I mean, that would be my recommendation, since the notice rule says that notice is effective if it's mailed to a candidate at the address that they've provided. They don't need to open it. I think we're semi-active here. Notice is given by the city clerk.
Okay.
Notice given by the city clerk to the respondent that the complaint has been referred to the Board of Ethics. Do we need to see that printed on the screen? Or,
Yes. Let me.
I mean, I could do that.
Hold on.
Perfect.
Uh, 10 business days. Wait 1 second. Sorry. After. All right. I just typed this into an email, but I think this is sufficient. So.
Yeah.
And then the red is what we'd be reviewing.
It's not right. 10 days after. Can you change? Well, we've got two afters here.
Oh,
And notice is given. By the city clerk to the respondent that, okay. Members, does that look right? Is there anyone who would like to make more changes?
I don't
Nice.
have any more changes.
I see Christina and Sean. Christina's shaking her head, Sean's nodding. I think they both mean that it's okay.
Right, I have no more changes.
The chair makes a motion that the board adopt the rule change, which has been presented to us after discussion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Miriam, please call the roll.
Right, Member Caffrey,
Yes.
Member Cuniff,
Yes.
Member Martinez,
Yes.
Member Marks,
Yes.
and I think Sue dropped off. Okay, that passes.
Thank you, members. I think we got this one
Right.
solved. If there's no further business, chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, and sorry, one final matter, members. I did want
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
I did want to introduce Cristobal Roca, who will be staffing the board going forward. Miriam Deemer has moved on, and this will be the last meeting.
Oh,
So we are sad and happy for her, but we're also excited to have Cristobal on board, and he's been jumping into it. So yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
Ethan, it's wonderful to meet everyone.
thank you, Mary, for helping us a lot.
Thank you. It's been a fun few years, and I know just a few of you are brand new, but it has been a lot of fun. And I'm still here with the city, so if you ever need anything, please do reach out.
Great.
Thanks.
With that, the chair moves that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any opposition? Hearing none, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank
members.
you.
Thanks.